So I'm an exchange student from the UK currently in Japan. Therefore, English is obviously my native language. But despite this, I've managed to gain a better than decent command of the Japanese language in over 2 years of study. And one of the most interesting aspects of studying Japanese, for me, has to be encountering words borrowed from my native language. However, some commonly used Japanese words with English origin are compounds formed from different words than those that are used to describe the same concept in English, or are simple English words that have a different meaning in Japanese, introducing Wasei-Eigo, or Japanese-made English. Let's start with simple English words that have taken on a completely different meaning in Japanese, the first of which is cunning. This comes from the English adjective cunning, meaning having skill in achieving one's ends through deceit or evasion. In Japanese, however, this word is a noun or verb meaning to cheat, specifically in an examination. What was originally a verb to describe the quality of an action now refers to the action itself, which is an interesting phenomenon. Another example of this is saida, coming from the English word cider. Where I come from, this word describes a specifically alcoholic drink made from fermented apple juice. But in Japan, this refers to carbonated beverages, what in the UK we would call a fizzy drink, and maybe Americans would call soda. Though as far as I'm aware, there's some complications here. While Brits such as myself solely use the word cider to refer to an alcoholic drink, in the US cider isn't necessarily alcoholic, with the alcoholic variety being specifically called hard cider. Similarly, we have tension, coming from the English word tension, which can also have the meaning of tense emotions like anxiety, as it does in English, but in Japanese it can also carry the meaning of like an exciting atmosphere and high energy, giving a more positive connotation than it generally carries in English. Finally, a very common Japanese word is konsento, coming from the English concentric plug, which is this. But in Japanese it refers to any kind of electrical wall socket or power outlet. From here I will introduce Wasei-Eigo words which take on an entire English phrase and use it as if it were a single word in Japanese. One of my favourite examples of this would be my pace, coming from the English phrase my pace, which for example can be used in the context of to do things at one's own pace or to walk at my pace. This can have a positive connotation, such as referring to someone who works best alone while not being influenced by others around them, but it can also be derogatory, such as describing someone as sluggish or inconsiderate. Yet another example of more than one word operating as one is blindo tachi, coming from blind touch in English, which isn't even something we actually say. It has the exact same meaning as what we would call touch typing, typing without looking at the keys while doing so. And finally, my absolute favourite would have to be my bag, which comes from the English phrase my bag. This is yet another word that uses my to refer to one's own thing or possession. This phrase can be used in the same way that we would say reusable bag in English to refer to a shopping bag that can be used multiple times, as opposed to a single-use disposable bag. In fact, this my prefix can be used for a whole host of reusable items, such as the my cup, carrying a meaning of reusable cup. So if anyone has any more examples or is Japanese or a Japanese learner, please leave in the comments. That's your lot.